Hello guys and gals, and this is part 3 of Mythical Monsters, Legendary, Fearsome Creatures. And in the last episode, we talked about the Knucker, Crack's Dragon, Leviathan, the Mummy, Orichi, and we are to St. George and the Dragon. But first, let's put a little hand in there so that we can find that page again. This is by Gerrie, McCall, and Chris McNab. This is by Scholastic. This is the copyright information. I've got the book fair. It's a children's book, basically. Copyright 2011, which sounds about right. And we are going to read about St. George and the Dragon. Okay. And it says, head. The solid, thick skull contains eyes with extra optic nerves for keen vision and nostrils that belch foul black fumes. Okay. Neck. An elongated neck keeps the dragon's fire-breathing apparatus at a safe distance from its own body, and also aids in spotting tender maidens and scrappy saints from all corners. Okay. Claws. Sturdy talons have telltale gouges in the turf where the dragon walks. Okay, so let's take a look at those feet, neck, body. Scales like steel plates on the dragon's body shatter St. George's spear when he first attempts to stab the creature. Okay. Okay, now let's talk about the wings. Wing bones attached to the broad back by a system of mighty muscles lifting the heavy beast into the air, and the tail. You don't really see the tail very well, but there it is. A flick of this dragon's razor sharp tail leaves a man with bloody stumps where he once had limbs. Okay, that is very, very graphic. Okay, cool. Okay, let's see. Now that we've got a feel for this, let's look at that. This bloodthirsty dragon lives by a spring that provides all the water for the city of Cyrene. Whenever the citizens of Cyrene want water, they are faced with the immense beast. Unhappy with the diet of sheep the citizens feed it, the dragon demands human sacrifices. The human sacrifice has to be given to the dragon daily before it allows anyone to draw water from the spring. The only fair way to determine the daily victim is by drawing lots. The princess is chosen as the next victim, and her father, the king, is distraught. He offers the citizens all of his riches if they will spare his daughter, but the citizens refuse. Okay. The princess is tied to a wooden stake near the spring. St. George, a soldier of the Roman Empire, discovers the distressed princess and unties her. St. George charges the dragon on horseback. His sturdy lance penetrates deep enough only to wound the foul creature. Using the princess's sash as a leash, St. George and the princess lead the injured dragon into town. St. George announces that he will finish off the dragon if the citizens convert to Christianity. They agree to convert, and St. George draws his sword and kills the dragon. Okay, that's really convincing. Okay, and Libya. Okay, where in the world? The dragon nests at a spring that provides water for the citizens of Cyrene, Libya, which is situated in northern Africa. Okay, and let's see. St. George is the patron saint of England, knights, archers, and butchers. The flag of Wales bears the image of a red dragon, is believed to be the oldest national flag still in use. Hundreds of years ago, dinosaur fossils were believed to be dragon bones. Dragoon soldiers carried a musket called a dragon. The musket was given this name because it emitted flames when fired. In the various parts of the dragon are believed to have magical properties. Anyone eating a dragon's heart would be able to understand the speech of birds. Eating dragon's tongue gave one the power to win any argument. Dragon's blood provided protection against injury from swords. I guess that makes sense. Moving on. We are to the Wyvern. He's a friendly-looking fella. Okay, it says wings. The wyvern unfolds its broad wings and flaps them furiously while hissing, creating an effect guaranteed to paralyze its victims with fear. Okay. Jaws, lined with dangerous, flesh-ripping teeth, the wyvern's mouth emits a noxious, poisonous gas that brings about outbreaks of the plague. Ew. Claws. Curved talons provide a firm grip on the carcass that the wyvern flies back to its lair. Okay. Body. Although not the largest of dragons, the wyvern is surprisingly well armored. Its shiny scales fend off most lances and projectiles. Tail. The pointed tail adds to the wyvern's terrifying appearance and inflicts deep wounds on its prey. Okay. There's the actual size. I don't know if I did that with the other dragon. I probably did, just imparting. Anyways. The most famous wyvern is one adopted as a pet by young Maud. While walking in the woods near her home in Mortiford, Maud discovered a baby wyvern. Its body is no bigger than a cucumber and is covered in sparkling bright green scales. Maud takes the helpless wyvern home, but her parents forbid her to keep it instead of setting it free. Instead of setting it free, Maud places the tiny dragon in her secret hiding place in the woods. She visits it daily, feeding it milk and playing with it. The wyvern grows rapidly, and soon milk is not enough to satisfy its ravenous appetite. The wyvern begins to feast on local livestock. The wyvern quickly discovers that farmers make better meals than farm animals. Despite the newly acquired taste for human flesh, the wyvern remains gentle with Maud. Garston, a man from one of Mortiford's best families, dons his armor and rides out to slay the wyvern. His sturdy shield protects Garston from the flame-spouting wyvern. Garston pierces the wyvern's shiny scales with his sword, finally wounding the creature. Maud kneels on the bloodied grass beside the wyvern. Weeping, she cradles her dying friend in her arms. This is a dragon from England. Says the medieval Mortiford, Herefordshire in England, wyverns are plentiful, or were plentiful. It seems almost anyone could stumble across one with little effort. Okay. Did you know? Because their flesh-eating habits, wyverns make unsatisfactory pets. Although they are harmless as babies, a dragon's bloodthirsty instincts always set in when it reaches adulthood. The wyvern is associated with war, pestilence, and envy. It is believed to bring outbreaks of the plague wherever it goes. Its traits of strength, power, and endurance made the wyvern a popular symbol on medieval coats of arms. Its image on shields was used to strike fear in the hearts of enemies. British dragons have always been known to inhabit places as diverse as caves, fields, woods, swamps, gullies, moors, corn stacks, water holes, and abbey ruins. The coat of arms of Moscow bears the image of a soldier on horseback spearing a wyvern. Wow. Moving on. Basilisk. Wow. That's a handsome critter. Beak. In many accounts, the beak was lined with dagger-like teeth. Tongue. Oh, wow, it's forked. Some people say the basilisk had a forked tongue like a snake. Okay, that makes sense. Skin. The skin was scaly as the skin of the roughest snake. Okay. Claws. Beast ran swiftly on feet that bristled with horrendously sharp claws. Ooh. Body. The body was rounded like a rooster, but had few feathers. Nobody is really sure how big the monster grew. Wings. In some descriptions, the wings were more like those of a dragon than of a bird. Okay. Tail. The tail was long and snaky and... The tail is long and snaky and may even have been lined with barbed spikes. Ooh. Comb. The bright, pointed rooster comb on the head was said to resemble a king or queen's crown. Eyes. Some say the eyes glowed a fiery red like hot coals whenever their color... Well, whatever the color, they were deadly. Okay, so we're going to take a big old sweeping panoramic view of it. Okay, it says here. The basilisk was a horrific mix of reptile and bird. It was said to be hatched from an egg laid by a cockerel. An egg that was then incubated by a toad. With their snake-like bodies, cockerel heads, and stumpy wings, basilisks had terrifying magic powers. Just the stare of a basilisk could kill people, as could its foul, poisonous breath. It polluted waterways and turned green, fertile farmlands into nothing but barren deserts. Rocks would shatter if the basilisk brushed against them. There were few ways to kill a basilisk. Weasels were said to be immune to basilisk magic and poison, and if a basilisk was confronted with a mirror, it would be killed by its own reflection. That's the actual size, which is kind of frightening. A fresh source of terror is about to emerge into the world. A toad has carefully tended a strange egg abandoned in a grassy field. The wary amphibian watches as first cracks, then a hole appears in the shell. Soon a bird-like head pops out. But this is no fluffy, harmless chick. Moments later, the toad keels over, stone dead. It is the first victim of a new basilisk's deadly gaze. Okay. Where in the world? The Roman writer Pliny described the basilisk nearly 2,000 years ago, but the creature may be even older. People throughout Europe walked in terror of meeting it right up until the 16th century, when the famous naturalist Conrad Gessner denounced it as gossip. So, in Europe, rather. And did you know? In Warsaw, Poland, in 1587, a basilisk was blamed for killing two small girls in a cellar. Reportedly, a volunteer prisoner sent down into the cellar killed the creature with a mirror. The basilisk myth may come from early reports of hooded cobras, venomous Indian snakes that rear up and flare their hood of skin. The idea that a weasel could kill a basilisk may come from tales of the mongoose, a small mammal that preys on cobras. I'd believe it. Well, let's read about Cerberus now. Look at that gorgeous doggy. That friendly doggo, good boy. Cerberus. Jaws. The jaws dribble venomous foam, and a foul stench pours from the mouth. The dreadful teeth tear at pitiful victims, condemned to punishment. Claws. Some descriptions of Cerberus claim the clawed feet are used to rip and flay the bodies of people who were greedy in life. Okay. Serpent tail. In the most terrifying portrayal of Cerberus, its tail consists of a serpent whose head rears up and springs into the attack. In other versions, Cerberus has either one or three dragon tails, each bearing a vicious spike. Ew. Mane. Says a mane of viper's heads seethes around Cerberus's neck. In moments of aggression, the massive snakes bristle and hiss in expectation of violence. Wow. Okay, there's the actual size. It's not really bigger than man size, which is actually kind of surprising. Okay. Here we go. Cerberus is a particularly ancient mythical hellhound. His name is first seen in literature dating from around 700 BC. He is also the ultimate guard dog. In Greek mythology, this three-headed beast presided over the entrance to the underworld, preventing the unfortunate dead from ever escaping back into the world of the living. Each terrifying head had powerful jaws that dripped poisonous saliva. A crop of snakes on top of the heads added to Cerberus's ferocity. The underworld, in ancient myth, the dead were brought to the banks of the river Styx by the god Hermes. The only way to cross the Styx was to pay the hideous ferryman, Chiron. I never remember how to pronounce that name. Those who couldn't pay or who were unburied were doomed to wander the dismal shores of Styx for eternity. On the far banks, the souls passed Cerberus, who made sure they did not flee back into the land of the living. Once inside the gates of hell, the souls were judged for their behavior in life. The good passed to the eternal paradise of the Elysian fields, while the guilty were doomed to everlasting torment in Tartarus. Where in the world? Okay. And I'm looking at Greece. It says, the ancient Greeks believed that the underworld lay at the center of the earth and was accessible through certain entrances. The most famous of these was at Heraclea on the Black Sea, and via the river Acheronon, Thesportia. I don't know anything about that. Cerberus' name probably stems from the Greek word kerberthro, meaning demon of the pit. The ancient Greeks were buried with a coin either in the mouth or placed in the grave because they believed their soul had to pay Charon to cross the river Styx. When Heracles captured Cerberus, drips of foam from his slathering jaws and venom from his mane of snake's head fell on the ground. From these drips sprouted the poisonous plant aconite, commonly known as wolfsbane. Theseus, famous for killing the Minotaur, spent 4 years trapped in hell, continually savaged by Cerberus. He was freed when Heracles captured Cerberus. Cerberus' mother was the half-woman, half-serpent Echidna. Okay, we've got time for the Cyclops, I believe, since we're on the whole Greek thing. The Cyclops. Arms, says bulging with muscles. The long arms pound out metal and shift stone blocks with ease. Okay, claws. Instead of nails, hooked claws grow from the fingers and toes. The Cyclops is in a bad mood. These make formidable weapons. I would think so. Feet. The whole ground shakes when the Cyclops stamps around on his massive feet. Teeth. When the Cyclops wants a snack, he rips up humans with his big pointy teeth. Okay. One huge watchful eye stares from the center of the Cyclops' forehead. And hair sprouting wildly from the Cyclops' head. The dirty, matted hair is infested with lice. Okay. That's really fascinating. Okay. Now, let's go on. He's way taller than man, obviously. Actual size. Okay. Okay, it says, the single eye of the Cyclops stares menacingly from its horrible hairy face. This cruel, watchful giant can smash a human to bits with a single flick of the wrist. In Greek mythology, the first Cyclopses were three brothers called Steropes, Brontes, and Argus, son of Ge, Mother Earth, and the god Uranus. They were blacksmiths by trade. The last race of Cyclops were brutish shepherds who lived squalid lives in dingy caves in Sicily, tending their flocks and tearing intruders apart. They communicated with grunts and roars. The Cyclops Polyphemus was the most dreadful of all. When Odysseus and his men showed up at his cave, Polyphemus imprisoned them, removing the brains of 2 men a day. Okay, that I didn't remember that part, but okay. Odysseus waited patiently for the Cyclops to fall asleep. Then the hero sharpened a stake and heated it in the fire, driving the weapon into the scary giant's eye. Odysseus twisted the stake around, blinding Polyphemus. The survivors escaped the next day, clinging to the bellies of the Cyclops' sheep as he sent them out to graze. Okay, where in the world? We're talking about Greece again. Cyclops live in the region of Thrace, in northeast Greece, in Lycia, in southwest Turkey, and on the island of Crete. They worked in Hephaestus' forge on Lemnos and built the cities of Mycenae and Tiryns. Later tales placed them on Mount Etna in Sicily. Okay, now we're going to go with Did You Know? The word Cyclops comes from the Greek translation Cyclops, Circle, and Ops, Eye. The names of the Cyclops, Brontes, Sterops, and Arges, meant thunder, lightning bolt, and lightning flash. The Cyclops myth may have its origins in an ancient guild of Greek metalworkers in Thrace, who had circles tattooed to their foreheads. Some people believe that the legend of the Cyclops arose when the ancient Greeks first encountered elephants. Okay, well, that would make sense. We've got time for one more, I think. Let's read about Fafner. Fafner. Hide. Scales as strong as iron protect Fafner's body. Many a sword has broken against his armor-like hide. Belly. Belly. The dragon's only vulnerable spot is his soft stomach, even though it is sometimes encrusted with jewels from resting on top of the treasure heap for so long. The only place the sword can pierce. Okay, mouth. Fafner's dragon breath is a combination of poisonous gases and flames. His toxic breath is produced by his second stomach. Okay. Wings. Enormous leathery wings carry Fafner's heavy body through the air, enabling him to dive at his victims in surprise attacks from above. Okay. Let's learn about Fafner. Let's see. Fafner is a simple dwarf warped by greed. Fafner and his brother Regan want a share of their father's treasure. Fafner murders his father for the treasure and refuses to share with Regan. Years of gloating over his treasure transform Fafner from a dwarf into a terrible dragon. Still hungry for a share of the treasure, Regan asks the hero Sigurd to slay Fafner. The hero needs a reliable sword because the dragon's scales are impenetrable. Numerous swords have already shattered against them. Sigurd repairs his father's broken sword, making it unbreakable and sturdy enough to split an anvil. Wow. It says, Sigurd digs a trench across the path Fafner follows for his daily drink at the river. Hidden in the trench, Sigurd thrusts his mighty sword into Fafner's belly as he slithers overhead. At Regan's request, Sigurd cuts out Fafner's heart and roasts it. Sigurd burns his fingers on the red hot heart. That is a tongue twister. When he sucks on his fingers to relieve the pain, the taste of Fafner's blood gives Sigurd the power to understand the language of birds. The birds warn Sigurd that Regan plans to kill him, so Sigurd kills Regan and claims the treasure. That makes sense to me. Where in the world? Well, let's see. According to Norse mythology, Fafner crouches atop his heap of hoarded treasure in the cold, dark Norwegian cave. Okay. Until Cerberus came along, Fafner was thought to be undefeatable. Numerous brave men were seeking the dragon's treasure, but were burned alive and eaten. Fafner's father was the king of dwarf folk. Several Norse gods gave Fafner's father his treasure as payment for accidentally killing one of Fafner's brothers. The sword that Sigurd had repaired in order to slay Fafner was once his father's. It was broken when his father battled Odin, the chief god in Norse mythology. As his father lay dying, he predicted that his unborn son would one day forge a powerful weapon from the fragments of his broken sword. And in the next video, we will talk about Foots Long, the Gorgon, Griffins, and at least get to Hatubwari, and a few others. Anyways, this has been Mythical Monsters and Fearsome Creatures, and my battery is about dead. If you like this video, then make sure that you like and subscribe, and that you ring the bell so you know when I upload. And I appreciate all the support. If you want to support me, all the information is in the description below. And as always, thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.